It started with whispers. A player, once seen as rising talent in the NBA, suddenly vanished from the league spotlight. Jontay Porter, a promising forward known for his athleticism and court vision, wasn't injured. He hadn't retired. He had been banned for life from the NBA. The reason? Gambling. Illegal high stakes and intertwined with some of the most sensitive aspects of professional basketball. Porter had reportedly shared confidential game information, including insights about injury reports and player availability, with outside parties who used that knowledge to place bets on NBA games. It was more than casual betting. It was a calculated scheme to manipulate outcomes and generate profit for associates, some of whom had connections to organized gambling networks. Between 2022 and 2024, federal prosecutors allege Porter placed at least 13 bets using intermediaries' accounts. Each bet was informed by insider knowledge only someone inside the league could access. Every game he influenced added to the web of financial gain. The NBA has one of the strictest anti-gambling policies in professional sports, forbidding players from betting on league games or sharing confidential information. Violations can lead to fines, suspensions, or, in extreme cases, lifetime bans. But Porter's case was extreme. Investigators argued that the intent and scale of the scheme threatened the integrity of the entire league. In 2024, after a comprehensive internal investigation, the NBA officially banned Porter for life. At the time, he became one of the few players in league history to face such a harsh penalty. The public explanation was brief, almost clinical. A player violated rules, trust was broken, and the league acted decisively. But this was not the end of the story. Federal authorities soon became involved. Prosecutors charged Porter with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, alleging that he had intentionally collaborated with others to exploit inside information for financial gain. Legal filings described meetings, digital communications, and the transfer of sensitive data used to inform betting decisions. For fans, this scandal raised uncomfortable questions. How could a player, even a talented one, risk everything for gambling? And how deeply could outside actors influence outcomes in professional sports when inside knowledge is leveraged? In many ways, the story of Jontay Porter is a cautionary tale about ambition, temptation, and the hidden consequences of unethical decisions in professional sports. But for law enforcement and the NBA, it was a case that had to be prosecuted fully, to send a signal that integrity matters more than individual talent or notoriety. Now, 2 years after his NBA ban, Porter is back on the court, but not in the league he once called home. The United States Basketball League, newly relaunched, has offered him a chance to play professionally again, but under a shadow. His past decisions, the legal charges, and the lifetime ban continue to follow him, threatening both reputation and opportunity. The crime is clear. The stakes are enormous, and the tension is far from over. Once the NBA handed down the lifetime ban, investigators dug deeper. Documents, bank transfers, digital communications. Each piece of evidence painted a clearer picture of the scheme Jontay Porter was allegedly involved in. Federal prosecutors allege Porter shared insider information not just casually, but systematically, with a network of bettors. This wasn't a one-off lapse in judgment. It was a series of deliberate actions over months that leveraged his position as an active NBA player. The focus of the investigation included at least 13 documented bets on NBA games. Each wager was tied to confidential knowledge about player injuries, rotations, and even minor strategic details that only someone within the organization could have known. According to court filings, these tips allowed outside associates to place bets with unusually high accuracy. Banking records revealed suspicious transfers. Money flowed from intermediaries who placed the bets back to accounts connected to Porter's associates. Investigators argued that these transactions were structured intentionally to avoid detection, a common tactic in sports gambling fraud. The NBA's investigation wasn't just internal posturing. They coordinated closely with federal authorities, sharing emails, phone logs, and documents. Prosecutors noted that some messages contained explicit references to intended outcomes, demonstrating intent, which is crucial for proving fraud. Porter's legal team has maintained that he did not intend to influence games or compromise league integrity. But the scale of the transactions, combined with the insider data provided, created a compelling narrative for federal charges. The evidence suggested a pattern: planning, execution, and monetary gain. Other corroborating evidence came from communication logs between Porter and bettors. Texts, emails, and voice recordings reportedly detailed which games would be bet on, the amounts, and the predicted results. Even casual observers could see a link between insider knowledge and the financial outcomes of these bets. The rising tension here is twofold. First, Porter is facing criminal charges alongside league discipline. The possibility of jail time looms, and a conviction would cement his fall from NBA stardom. Second, the broader league is under scrutiny. How could a player manipulate betting markets without raising immediate red flags? The implications ripple beyond one individual, threatening confidence in professional basketball's integrity. Once evidence was gathered, the investigation shifted focus from documents to people. Jontay Porter became the centerpiece of a series of formal interrogations conducted by federal prosecutors. Every meeting, every session, was designed to uncover not only what he did, but who else might have been involved, and how deeply the network of bettors extended. During initial interviews, Porter was pressed about specific bets, the timing of tips, and communications with co-conspirators. Investigators asked pointed questions. Did he act alone? Did he receive compensation? Did he influence game outcomes deliberately? Each response was scrutinized for consistency, tone, and detail. A single slip could undermine his defense. The interrogations revealed more than just actions. They revealed patterns and intent. Authorities were particularly interested in whether Porter had knowingly provided confidential team information, such as injury reports or player rotation plans, and whether he understood the implications of sharing that knowledge. Federal agents also subpoenaed associates, some of whom had acted as intermediaries in placing bets. Their testimonies were critical for connecting Porter's actions to tangible financial gain. Agents asked about account transfers, timing of bets, and how insider knowledge shaped betting decisions. Cross-referencing these statements with electronic evidence created a high-resolution picture of the alleged scheme. The NBA's disciplinary team participated indirectly by supplying internal investigation findings, player records, and digital communications. This coordination ensured interrogations weren't just about punishing Porter. They were about understanding the full scope of the criminal network. Psychological insight into intent, critical for both sentencing and public understanding. Testimonies from associates added new layers of tension. Some described direct instructions from Porter. Others admitted to following his advice without knowing the source of the information. The lines between complicity and coercion blurred, creating a complex narrative for prosecutors to untangle. For viewers, this section transforms abstract crime into human drama. The question everyone asks now is, why? Why would a young NBA player like Jontay Porter risk his career, his reputation, and potentially his freedom for gambling? The answer lies in both personal and systemic factors. On the personal side, insiders describe Porter as ambitious, driven, and always seeking advantage. The lure of millions of dollars in extra income, combined with access to sensitive game information, created both opportunity and temptation. A single tip about a teammate's injury or an upcoming lineup adjustment could be worth tens of thousands in betting profits. Multiply that over a series of games, and the stakes become enormous. Porter reportedly rationalized his actions internally, believing that sharing tips was a way to capitalize on knowledge without harming the game. Yet the scale of the scheme, dozens of bets placed over multiple seasons, suggests deliberate intent rather than impulsive mistakes. Beyond personal ambition, there's a systemic layer. The NBA, like all major leagues, operates in a world where gambling is ubiquitous. Digital platforms are instantaneous, and enforcement relies on monitoring and reporting. The case exposes how vulnerable professional sports can be when players have both access to insider knowledge and connections to bettors willing to exploit it. The systemic implications extend further. One player violating rules is concerning. multiple players or associates doing so could threaten league integrity, fan trust, and the legitimacy of competitive outcomes. This is why federal authorities became involved. The crime isn't just a personal failing, it's a structural warning. Legal analysts note that Porter's actions highlight gaps in enforcement. While the NBA has strict anti-gambling rules, insider knowledge can be transferred subtly. Texts, voice messages, and digital notes. Detecting violations requires vigilance, cooperation with law enforcement, and transparency from the players themselves. The Porter case shows what happens when oversight fails. The systemic ripple effects are clear. The NBA's lifetime ban, the federal charges, and now Porter's career move to the United States Basketball League, USBL, create ongoing consequences. His return to professional basketball, albeit outside the NBA, forces a conversation about second chances, accountability, and what leagues must do to safeguard integrity. Finally, the story underscores a broader lesson. Sports systems must balance trust and vigilance. Players operate in high-pressure environments with massive financial incentives. When temptations meet insufficient oversight, scandals emerge. Jontay Porter's lifetime NBA ban, federal charges, and the mounting evidence against him all converge in a tense finale. The crime is exposed, the evidence is in, and the interrogations have revealed intent. Now the focus shifts to consequences. The NBA's decision was immediate and severe. By banning Porter for life, the league sent a clear message. Gambling violations, especially those that exploit insider information, are non-negotiable. The penalty wasn't just about punishment. It was about preserving the integrity of every game, every contract, and every fan's trust. Federal authorities are now pursuing criminal charges. Porter faces conspiracy to commit wire fraud, a felony carrying potential prison time. Prosecutors have documented the bets, traced the transfers, and detailed the network of associates who executed the scheme. Every transaction, text, and tip strengthens the case. The legal stakes are as high as the career stakes. Meanwhile, Porter is back on the court, but not in the NBA. The United States Basketball League, USBL, newly relaunched, has offered him a professional opportunity. For fans and observers, this raises questions. Should someone banned from the NBA be allowed to play elsewhere? Does this diminish the severity of his past actions? The tension here is palpable. Every move in the USBL will be scrutinized, both as a second chance and a reminder of past wrongdoing. The endgame also highlights the broader systemic impact. Leagues, teams, and governing bodies are reminded of vulnerabilities in their systems. Insider knowledge, digital communications, and informal networks can undermine even the most robust rules. The Porter case becomes a blueprint for preventive measures, stricter monitoring, better player education, and enhanced collaboration between leagues and law enforcement. For the audience, the story resolves on multiple levels. Legally, Porter faces possible imprisonment. Professionally, he is navigating a new path outside the NBA. Psychologically, the saga underscores the pressures and temptations professional athletes face and the consequences of ethical lapses. Ultimately, the Porter scandal is a cautionary tale for all professional athletes and leagues. It shows that one person's choices can have ripple effects, legal, professional, and reputational. Even when second chances appear, the shadow of past decisions lingers, shaping perception and opportunity. For the NBA and global basketball, the lesson is clear. Integrity cannot be compromised. Monitoring, transparency, and enforcement are non-negotiable. And for Jontay Porter, the endgame is still unfolding. His story is a reminder that in sports, as in life, actions have consequences and reputations are fragile.